Watch! Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the second watch. We got a really special episode for y'all tonight. Very excited about it. Gary, before we get into that, how's your week been?
Busy, all kinds of busy. So much so that there has not been a game this week, and there wasn't a game last week. I am in a drought, and it's killing me. It really is. But other than that, everything's going fine. My biggest gaming related news is that I splurged and I got these huge Runehammer dice. I'm very proud of those. Look at the size of this D20, man. I could put an eye out with this. I am digging it. Anyway, yeah, that's about it, man. I've been busy running around Austin, taking kids here and there. So
yeah,
what about you, man?
I'm in the opposite. Tomorrow is my Gods of the Forbidden North campaign with my in-person gaming crew. And for the first time since I started this campaign, every single player engaged in downtime. Stuff's happening. They're starting to see things. And an old friend of mine who used to game with us, like, I don't know, like for a long time, he, due to a job and life and all that, he hasn't gamed with us for almost a decade. He bumped into him about a month ago. He says he's available to game, except for not this weekend because of the one-to-one timekeeping. We did a solo session earlier this week, which was awesome. I'm feeling really good about this campaign. I feel like we're just starting to pick up steam. You know what I mean? So,
and I don't mean to interrupt you, man, but I'm really anxious. We've got the best guest tonight.
Oh yeah. Let me hit this super chat from Disco Barbarian. Right. Hey brother, good to see you. Thank you so much. $5. Yar dog brothers and so and sisters. Just finished painting purple worm miniature for Darrow Deep Prep. On to the next part. Stonestein never ends. Hell yeah, brother. Good to see you. And I guess without further ado. Oh, and we got Mr. Max in. Hey man, thanks for showing up. And with that, let's get our guest in here, DM Scotty. Hey, thank you so much for coming.
Hey, very welcome.
All right.
They love me.
They do. I was telling you pre-show, I was like, man, we posted this on Twitter and all of a sudden people wanted to talk to me today. It was great. So yeah, that's crazy. Well, listen, thanks for being here. There's so many places to start. I know everybody wants to get to EZD6, and I want to get there too. But there are a couple things I want to touch on. First things first, went to your YouTube channel, the DM's Craft. I think the oldest video I saw was 13 years old, 14, something like that. You've been doing this a long time, DM Scotty.
I have.
What
right when
YouTube
was young, at the start of YouTube or whatever.
Right. So what compelled you? Like, what compelled you to be like, you know what? I'm going to get a camera and I'm just going to film myself doing these things.
Yeah, it was like I started. What happened was some people at work said, "Oh, we should play some D&D, and you're going to be the dungeon master because you're the only one that's been that before." So I was like, "Okay, cool." So we were doing mostly Theater of the Mind. I was playing Castles and Crusades. I ran them with that, you know.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Very easy system. And so I also came from a wargaming background, and I kind of missed the terrain because early in my life, when I started playing D&D at 18, I actually did cardboard tiles and stuff, made stuff for my games. And I thought, I should start doing that again and see how it works. And I did it, and the players loved it. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, they were loving it. And so I was like, well, I should maybe like do a video about this or something. And so I sat down kind of sheepishly and did this video. I didn't do any voiceovers. I'll just talk into the camera and, you know, cut it from there. And very kind of crude, but it caught on. And, you know, first I thought, well, if I get 100 subscribers, you know, that's great. You know, someone learned something, right? about my techniques. And then I was 100 and 1,000, then 10,000, then 50, so it just kept climbing. And then now it's bloomed into YouTube, where you can't even turn on YouTube without there being you running into a new crafting channel.
Right.
Great. I love all the different techniques that people show. Everything from like spend hundreds of dollars on tools and make all this stuff to like what I do with like cardboard and
I saw what a cool confession. I knew of you through EZD6. I did not know you were a crafting game master until I I started like getting ready for this this interview and whatnot, and I'm like, oh my god. And then I saw some of because I dabbled in this a little bit, and I just absolutely love you did a video about basically going to the dollar store and just finding stuff, and that is like the best way. And I used to do dumpster diving back in the day, where I just like find like pink foam and all this other stuff. So I thought that was great. What I think you touched on, like you were one of the first doing this, probably the first. How did you I've heard Professor Dungeon Master comment about you being an influence. Did you have much like discussions with him back in the day? Like, how did that work out?
Oh, with Professor Dungeon Master?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We actually, my friend Gareth and I, who had this site called Quest Givers, we were doing some independent stuff. And so we asked Dan to do a couple of modules with us. He did a McDeath module, which is fantastic. He's run it for me. It's just, you have to have him run it for you. I mean, he's just fantastic. I mean, he's already a real professor anyway, right? So he was great. But we did a Frankenstein, and and that's how we kind of got to be friends. And then it just kind of went from there. And we've gamed together a lot. He'll help me play test EZD6, and he loves it. So his wife jokes that she likes me as a game master better than her husband.
Awesome.
That's great.
You're like, here's a game master I like better than you.
Well, on that note, EZD6 is the only game that I've been able to get my girl to sit down to actually play. She only did it once, but she did it, So you're running Castles and Crusades, you're crafting, you have the channel going. I'm assuming the story I heard, and feel free to flesh this out, is that EZD6 came about because you were running con games and you needed something quick. Is that pretty much?
Basically, it evolved from that. Yeah, I was running. I ran a lot of ICRPG because that's a great convention game. Also,
love it.
A very light, stripped down game. That you can hack very easily, and I liked a lot of things about it. But as I played more, I was like, there's certain things that take time in the game. And I'm like, what can I strip from the game that will, I call them rules breaks particularly, right? Some games really have bad rules breaks where, I got to look at this spell and only give me 15 minutes, and I got to roll all my damage dice and all this stuff. And it's like, what can I take out but still have a really solid game? And that's how I approached EZD6. It wasn't like, this is a great mechanic, I should put it in a game. It was actually the playability of the game. Like how can I strip a game down to be the absolute easiest to play at the table, but still have oomph to it, still have meat.
Right. Well, that's one of the things I try to, when I'm talking about EZD6, I tell people is that when you're in an encounter or you're doing combat, like just, the flow of karma, spell burn, the way magic works, because you're not looking up spells, it feels like a game, right? At no point are you like, this is so easy, I do this and roll a die. No, you're like, are you gonna spend that karma? You've got 3. It can be a big decision, but I do like how it does feel like a game with meat, but you never have to look anything up.
Exactly.
Don't have to do it at all. So
after the first 5 minutes with your character, you don't ever even have to look at your sheet. You know what I'm saying? This
right.
Like,
yeah, pretty much.
There's not many games you can say that for.
There's not. And I hadn't heard, you know, when we started this channel, it was a lot of the OSR. You know, I was doing an old school Essentials game. You know, Matt you were doing
I was using Temple of Elemental Evil, but running it with Lamentations of the Flame Princess. So it was like a darker, more grittier version of the.
Right. So we were very rules and like almost every conversation, you know, the browsers would come up or rules is written, you know, that kind of thing. And I think over the past month or so, I've just kind of been feeling that that sort of cognitive load, you know, and I've been going back and I've been rereading ICRPG and kind of looking at your game. And one of the things I really like is I feel like fantasy games always kind of they are dungeon exploration and measuring and resources and all that. And somehow with EZD6, when I played, there was none of that. Like there was action and adventure, and it felt more like a movie than it felt like, you know, somebody's drawing a map on a piece of paper and marking off, you know, how many turns until the torch goes out. And it's nice. It is really nice.
Because this is the way I look at it, right? Like people like to think they can multitask, but as humans, we don't multitask very well, right? So if you've got a huge rule set in your head, that's taking up room from all the creative energy that you can throw back at the table, right? You're having to keep all this stuff in your head. And when you strip all that out, you can really pay attention to what the players throw at me, and I grab it and run with it. You know what I'm saying? And you're really open. Now, anybody can do this with any rule set, but you're really open to that because you don't have all that cognitive load. I call it RAM, your head RAM. Right. You don't have that. You're not using up your head RAM for rules, right? It's all creative and all interactive. You can be creative and interactive with the players and worry about make that top priority as opposed to the rules.
No, I compare it to like a great bass player in a band. Like if he's doing everything right, you don't notice him, but if he takes a break, everything falls apart, you know? And that's, that's kind of how it is with your game, is that you do get into this, you get into a flow with it, you know, and you don't, and here's the thing. And I'll be honest, I've only been able to play your game. I was counting it up today. I've played it at home with the kids and the wife like 4 times. And I played it online with some guys right after it came out, even before the quest book was out. And I think we played about 9 or 10 sessions. And then, you know, like most role-playing games online, it kind of, flitted out. So
there's a certain longevity in it.
Yeah, there's a certain longevity. So but I'm constantly going back to it. And it feels like a game with a lot of possibilities. And you've done the quest book, you've done the Wasted World, which I think is great. I haven't been able to play that one yet.
I love Wasted World. That was a labor of love. I love post-apocalyptic media.
Yeah, which actually, let me go off on the side tangent right here and ask you about it. Your art in these books, the artist that you have doing your books, how lucky are you, man?
Oh my God. Like Brandon Runehammer, you know, from Runehammer found Bova, and like, we were like, oh my God, this is it. This is who we need. He's fantastic. He's like totally emulates the style that I want to go for. Right. And his art. Yeah. And for the new horror book that we're working on, his art, oh my God, it's mind blowing. It's so great. I think even every book just gets better and better. His art just gets better and better.
Well, I think amazing. Maybe he's seeing inside your head a little better.
Yeah. Every piece just blows me away that he does. It's just breathtaking.
Yeah. I think it's great. All right, so Wasted Worlds came out. That's great. It's Mad Max-ish Gamma World kind of, however you
kind of weird mix.
Right.
Yeah, that's the I was just going to say that was just the one that I really like, that I've looked at this point. I like the weird. I'm moving more into like that weird Gamma World-esque type strange post-apocalyptic stuff where there's a little bit of magic, there's psychics, there's guns, there's swords, there's all kinds of cool stuff. And I do like that one a lot. But my, I mentioned Lamentations of the Flame Princess earlier, just a minute ago. My real love is weird horror. So when you mentioned to Gary before, while we were working out getting you here, that you're working on a horror game, I'm like, ooh. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. It's I've been I play test a lot, with everything, and it's just so fun. I'm a huge fan of horror movies, but I wanted to try something and do, I call them play sets. So Wasted World is one play set, right? And the whole book is one play set. But I thought, well, let me try to do 2 play sets in this book, because there's kind of 2. I really wanted to get the kind of heroic monster fighting kind of thing in the book, but I also wanted your victims just getting, like, who's going to survive this movie, right? This horrible situation. And they're just so much fun. Now, I did a couple of different things with the book. One is for the victims. I call them victims. Nice. For the victims, instead of karma, there's stress. Okay. So in EZD6, you get karma. Whenever you fail a roll, you get karma. You can use karma to add to your D6 rolls, and you do successes, right? And part of the fun of that is deciding whether you want to fail this roll and get more karma, or you want to use your karma on the current roll, right? That's a great choice that the players have. But in the horror one, with the victims, they have the choice, but it's called stress instead of karma. So you don't want stress, okay? So if you get stress, if you take stress, you can adjust your rolls. But when you get 3 stress, you lose the stress and take a strike because you're stressing out.
Oh,
and you only have 3 strikes, right?
Yeah.
So when you stress out, you're taking a strike. Now, there are some caveats to that. Like, there's one inclination where you can get an extra, you can take 4 instead of 3. There's one where you can roll for each stress you get, that kind of thing. Right. So there are a couple things in the inclinations, but yeah, if you can kill yourself by taking too much stress. Right?
That's awesome.
So you got to be careful about that. Cool. And it really fits with the playset. It really fits with that, horror vibe, as far as like survival horror, right?
When you think about like a normie in the middle of like a horror movie,
you're just a normal person.
They're not going to be succeeding all that often. It's like that. They run up to the door's locked. They're trying to bash it open as Jason Voorhees is heading towards them. That's awesome. So do you take the stress, or do you just fail? Like, what? That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. That is great.
And it might be worth taking, if the thing's going to swallow you or rip you to shreds, it might be worth losing that strike because you can get through the door, right? Like you said, the locked door, you bash through the door, right? It might be worth taking that extra stress to get, just so you survive, because the thing might rip you to shreds, right?
Right.
So that's a great choice. And also what I did was, in horror movies where sometimes they just have incredible luck, and then other times it's just horrible, awful luck, and they bite it, So I wanted to mimic that in the game. So I took out, for the victims, I took out the hero die, right? And I added a flip of fate. So basically it's a coin toss. If you get heads, something miraculously saves your butt. If you get tails, the worst horrible thing happens to you, right? Whatever the horrible thing is, it's even more horrible, right? So it's like a 50-50 chance to save your bacon.
I really like that. I've talked about this on my channel a couple of times and on stream a couple of times. I actually talked to Sandy Peterson about this too when I met him at a con earlier this summer. I think one of the hardest things to do with RPGs is horror, because you want your players to be immersed, right? You want them to have that great adventure, but how can you make your players feel a little scared, like their characters would be feeling scared? And I think where the game mechanics like meet the road, where the rubber meets the road, that's the game mechanics really have to like do it well. Alien RPG has this interesting stress mechanic, but what you just described, putting like this decision, this life or death decision in the hands of the player. Oh my God. That sounds like, oh man, I want to play this game.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun. And it's like, I'm not a murdery DM, but when I play this, I'm murdering you. You know, if I have any chance, I'm murdering you.
I was, as soon as you said stress mechanic and normie, like I saw Matt, you know, the little hearts in his eyes.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
Right.
yes. Yeah,
Dreamweaver.
Yeah, because you're not superheroes in this game. You're just normal people that just in a horror movie, you know, they got in a bad situation.
You know, and that's actually something that as soon as you said that, I kind of keyed on how many role-playing games are there where it's, you know, ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances. Right. Like you're always, even in regular D&D, you're a guy with a sword while everybody else is a peasant, right?
Oh yeah. You're a hero right out of the gate. You know, you're just
exactly.
Yeah.
So a game with like true normies, I don't know if there's not a lot of them out there. And thank you. Matt will enjoy killing everyone over and over again.
I started running like an annual Halloween one shot like almost a decade ago, and I would take various systems that are horror based. We started with Call of Cthulhu, obviously. That's an obvious one. And then Alien RPG through Free League is another one. But I think once this gets published, this is going to go on my list because I like that idea. I remember talking to a guy a couple years ago. I cannot remember his name, but we were having this very similar conversation where we're like, you know, why hasn't someone done something like this yet? And it's like, I don't know. Why hasn't someone done something like this yet? So, because I think, again, like if you're going to play horror, people want to feel scared. I don't think you want to have your players all of a sudden have this flight or fight response at the table, but you want them to feel like tense, right? You want them to feel like, oh crap. So, yeah, and I've been on the hunt for like the perfect system, so I really want to try that because I love the idea of putting it's your choice. Like,
right,
it's not,
I do too. I love that idea too.
Yeah, it's not going to be up to fate. It's not going to be up to the roll of the die.
Exactly.
It's you. So like, are you making the right choice or not? I think that's great.
Right. I mean, the dice might hate you and you still might die, but you have a lot of control over that with taking stress or using karma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a question from the chat here.
Oh, I see.
Flint Fire Forward. Scotty, what's your favorite horror or post-apoc movie? Post-apocalyptic movie.
Oh my gosh. There are just so many. I actually just watched recently In the Mouth of Madness. I quite like that movie a lot. I love the old school. I love The Exorcist. So great because you know in that time of filmmaking, it was kind of this realistic style of filmmaking, and that really translates well to The Exorcist because it feels so real. Like their relationship with the mom and Reagan feels so real, and then it goes bonkers, right? It goes crazy, and like it just makes the horror that much crazier and then scary. I love the original Omen, you know, the classic Omen.
I was about to say The Omen that's one of mine.
You know, everything to, you know, normal modern horror slashers to you know, the classics. But as far as post-apocalyptic, I love The Road Warrior. I mean, that's one of my all-time favorite movies. So great. Of course, the new one's fantastic. But I also like some more obscure ones, like A Boy and His Dog. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but it's you know, he has a telepathic dog, and he's basically trying to find women. He's trying to get laid for the whole he's trying to get laid for their entire movie, and the dog can sniff out women, right? So he has a telepathic dog, and it's a really weird thing where there's this whole underground bunker with these weird Americana people in it with the painted faces and really bizarre. I love all that kind of stuff. Damnation Alley was this one I saw as a kid, you know, and really freaked me out. The cockroaches that would burn you, they would crawl on you and burn you, you know, all that kind of stuff. So everything from, you know, Romero's, you know, movies, the Dawn of the Dead, still the best zombie movie ever made, the original. yeah, just so many great movies. And actually, in Wasted World, I call zombies Romeros.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I didn't,
Romeros.
I did not catch the reference. I can't believe it.
That's what that is.
That was
so. There's all
that's
kinds
something...
of references, in the book to just tons of different post-apocalyptic movies.
So you've got the slasher or the normies getting killed by the monsters, and then you said there's a second play set in that same book, and that is going to be
it's called Dreadorn Hunt.
Okay,
is it what? I'm sorry.
I was like, is it a secret? Can you say?
Oh no, I could say it's called Dreadborn Hunters, and you're monster hunters, and the whole gimmick is that you can drain. You have a special organ in your body that can drain the energy from monsters, and you can start manifesting monster powers. But the thing is, as you get more, you have to be careful because you have to make a doom roll at the end of every game. And if you gain too much doom, you finally turn into a monster, and then you're an NPC, you're out of the game. The RR takes control of your character. So you got to be careful about how much you utilize these powers, right? Now the doom mechanic is something I came up with because I always try to go for, you can make a rule for anything. Anybody can make a rule for anything, but is it elegant, right? Does it work to further the fun of the game or hinder the fun of the game, right? Just to become another tracking chore, right? So in a horror game, there are a lot of things that can happen, right? There are cursed objects that can give you bad mojo. There's like werewolves that can bite you and turn you into a werewolf. There's, outer horrors you can see that makes you insane, permanently insane. So you can have tracking for all that different stuff, right? But what I did is I made it a doom. I called it doom. And when you get 3 doom, you succumb to whatever the doom is, right? And it doesn't, when the final doom manifests, it doesn't have to be what caused the first doom to you. So say you find this cursed artifact, you just can't put it down. You can't stop using it, right? And you use it, and you do get your saving throw, but eventually you fail and you finally get 2 doom. And all you need is that 3rd doom and you're in trouble, right? So once you've racked up 2 doom from using this cursed artifact, say a werewolf bites you. Now you've got your 3rd doom, and you become a werewolf, right? Not what the cursed object would do to you, but what the werewolf does. Or say you had 2 doom and you run into an outer horror and it fries your mind, you fail your doom roll, right? Now you're permanently insane. So instead of all these different tracking things for like, oh, here's my insanity, and when I get here, this happens.
Oh, sure.
It's just all one thing, right? It's all one tracking thing. So you don't have to worry about like separate ones for separate things, like cursed items and werewolves and other stuff, or getting possessed, or whatever it is. So I like that because it's just elegant. It cuts out all these other things and just makes it one thing that you track.
As we talk about these play sets, I'm curious, has anybody tried, or have you ever crossed them over? Like, have you ever used magic with the Wasted Worlds, and how does that work out? Do you think it fits? Is it just totally gonzo, or?
No, it's not. There are a lot of there's a lot of media, particularly cartoons and things that do that kind of gonzo mix of like post-apocalyptic and magic, So no, it's not, that's not, if that's something you want to do, it's so easy with EZD6 to do that, to mix and match, steal things from other sets. And so as I had this horror set come out, you could steal even more. So, you can steal things from Wasted World. You have all these monsters that are starting to build up from the different sets, even from the quest book, right? So you can start utilizing those monsters. Also, I'm doing a new thing in the monster book called featured monsters. So they're essentially boss monsters, right? Because a way to do boss monsters and not have them die in like 5 minutes, right? Because the thing is with horror, often there's one monster, right? It's not a horde of monsters. It's not a boss with like 20 minions, right? Like a fantasy game might be. It might be a one werewolf or one demon or one whatever. You don't want the guy to like have one round and then go down and die, right? Right. That's no fun for anybody, right? So I give rules for like featured monsters, like making them really tough, that they can stand up to a group. And monsters that like gain more strikes as you add players. So like you can really get like really tough monsters. And there's like counterattack rules and all this kind of stuff with the monster. So when you attack it, it gets attacked back, so you can't use your actions to overwhelm a monster, right? It gets to attack you back. So different things like that to keep the survivability of one monster particularly when you're playing horror. But you could port this into you can port this into fantasy, you can port this into the post-apocalyptic, anything. So yeah.
I'm the guy who wants to put it all together. Like for whatever reason, I really I like the idea of magic in my post-apocalyptic. When I saw you had vehicle rules in Wasted World, I was like, well, how can I use that for, whatever? And I think there's a lot of people using your game just to play whatever kind of game they want. And what should somebody think about when they're kind of building out their own game and what are they, not classes, types, and those kind of things? What are some things that you think people should think about? It's so narrative and it is kind of loose. I would worry that I would make things too powerful, right?
Oh,
like,
right.
Stuff like that. So do you have any advice for people who are kind of homebrewing their own EZD6 stuff?
Play testing is good because you can weed out things. Because it was funny, I was talking to Dan and he's working on Deathbringer, right? And Professor Dungeon Master, he's working on Deathbringer. He's going to have a Kickstarter for it. It's going to be pretty cool. So, but when he was playtesting it, he has like hero dice that he uses, not hero dice, but there's another name for them. But basically the players can share them,
right?
And his players basically saved up their dice, and when they got to the boss, they gave them all to the one player, and the player decimated the boss. So things that seem good in your mind when you play them, they may. Any loose ends you have, the players will discover it, right?
Absolutely.
So playtesting is a good way. But the inclinations as written are already a good way to, a good way to judge the power level of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't worry too much about balance in the game because certain things are going to be more powerful against other things and less powerful against different things. That's kind of, it's almost like kind of a fool's errand, right? To try to power balance it. And I think with EZD6, you really don't have to. It's really not that, it's super easy. Just throw more stuff or give it more strikes or whatever,
right.
Or give it some special
that's
power.
really what you have. Yeah.
It's just what you normally do as a DM, right? Or a GM.
Yeah, I think that's where actually like D&D, especially lately, the past couple of iterations, like they're like, I think you're right. It's a fool's errand, like this balancing. And even when you find that mathematical balance, anybody who's played those games long enough, all of a sudden there's like this sort of, they can't quite put their finger on it, but the game is just not what they thought it would be. It's maybe not as much fun. And at the end of the day, it's fun when it's challenging. You're problem solving, right? So we got a quick question from the chat. My parting question, Rolling Stad, thanks you so much for stopping by. We get a lot of people watching and listening to our show afterwards because we are late. We are a late show. But when is the sci-fi cyberpunk book coming out? Would buy that in a jiffy. I think it's already out, sir. Am I right?
I am working on the sci-fi book actually right now.
Nice.
Because I've written the horror book, so it's just get all the other things that have to happen to make that come out are working with. I don't need to be involved in that so much. So I've been working on but this I'm going crazy. I'm doing 3 play sets in this book because there's so much sci-fi, right? And I'm doing a pulpy sci-fi, like a Rocket Ranger type game. Nice. I'm doing a Star Trek inspired game, but not Star Trek. It's like the optimistic future type game, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm doing the dystopian future game where you work for pan-galactic corporations and do their dirty work, right? So
That's my kind of sci-fi.
So I've got all three in there. I've got all three of the different ones, and it's so much fun. I ran my Rocket Ranger game. There's a thing in Tennessee that we do is called Green Dragon Fest, and it's so cool. It's like this Hobbit village, and you go there for the weekend, and people just play with whatever game masters they want. And I was running tests of the game, and I don't think I've laughed so hard at a game playing the Rocket Rangers because everybody was so on point, right? They were like gonzoing it up. They were, the big speech, the big speeches, just everything, because I had like a robot. There was a robot character, which is fun. Like the classic Robbie the Robot character.
Yeah.
Which is a character that's
nice.
pre-built. Like you just take the robot and that's it. There's no inclinations or anything. And also the robot cannot use karma because it's not a living being. So it has hero dice, but it can't use karma. But it has like, a super sealed body. It has all these like great stats, but it follows Asimov's laws of robotics. It can't kill people. It can't hurt. So it has like a stunner weapon,
that's cool.
But it can't actually hurt and it can't kill anything, right? So that's a challenge. Also in these play sets, I started adding a way weaker character, like a lower level character. In the Rocket Rangers, it's a space cadet, and in the Star Trek ones, it's an ensign. In the Star Trek Inspired, it's an ensign, and the character has no inclinations. They have no inclinations, and they have 2 abilities. But the abilities they start with 6 karma, so they're just lucky, right? They're all about luck. They're all about the luck, and they have plot armor where they can, if they roll a 2+, they can save another teammate by something weird happening, right? But them distracting the enemy or something goofy happening that you make up on the spot, right? So, and someone chooses it every time. Like every time I play it, somebody chooses the weak character. So it's very interesting. And one thing I did with this playset, because the horror playset doesn't have paths, okay, like the other playsets. You're either a victim with the everyday nightmares, or you're a monster hunter with the Dreadborn Hunters. So there's no play. There's just one player path. It's the Dreadborn Hunters or the victim. Now with the sci-fi book, what I did is there's ship assignments are the paths. So you might be the captain of the ship. You might be the engineer. You might be the science officer. You might be the medic. So each one has its version of that, right? And they change depending on the play set because Star Trek, like there's a certain military order to the rankings on the ship, where something like the Fixers, which are like the dystopian set, you'll have the captain and maybe they're second, but most of the people on the ship just have a job. There's no ranks on the ship, right?
Right. So
it's like, but they still have an assignment on the ship. So that's how the paths are defined. You're certain. You have a certain job on the ship. So that works out really, really well. So each of those has a couple abilities, like, a path would when you take a path. So I look at it when I do each play set, I look at it in that certain genre, like what works with this genre. And somebody asked, I started to do like an all-encompassing playbook where it was just you could make anything. And I came up with some quite interesting stuff, but I came to realize that, most people, when they get a universal system, they buy a splat book anyway, right? Like if you play Savage Worlds, you buy Deadlands, or you buy, whatever the other set is,
right?
Whether it's fantasy or horror or whatever, you buy the other book to go with it anyway. So why make a universal system when you can just have the system fit the genre that you're trying to portray?
That makes sense.
I think that's like one of the toughest decisions I think a designer
it is tough.
makes. Like everyone, I hear like GURPS is a great example. Like I've been hearing people who like GURPS really like GURPS, but then it's just kind of like, you know, what is GURPS? It's just this universal system.
Right.
Where I think if you're doing kind of like what you're doing, it has I don't know, maybe a little bit more of an identity.
Flavor. There's more flavor to it. And the thing I like about the Star Trek set is in the book is because I love Star Trek. I'm a big fan. But it's like there's so much lore and there's so much when you run a game. That's the problem with running a game in a setting. When you run a game in a certain setting, you can trample on the lore so easily, or not do the lore right, and your players like calls you out on it.
Right.
But if you have a loose idea of what the thing is, you can just make up shit, right? You can make up whatever you want within that small framework that you've built. Yeah. You can just you and the players have all this room to make up anything, right? Which I love in games. I love when players do that. And I always, when players throw me tidbits, I always grab them when I'm running games.
I will say every time I've played a lot of Star Wars games. And I tell my players, you know, from the get-go, I'm like, listen, this is where the canon is. And if you guys screw it up, it's screwed up. This is we're not going to follow the movies to follow the movies. Once you change it, it's changed, you know?
Oh, right. That's a great way to do it.
Yeah. And I've had some really good times with that, but there is something to be said about kind of taking the flavor of what people like and in game, you and the players building on that and it becoming your own, you know?
Right. Exactly.
You can tell me and Matt, one of the features of this show is that me and Matt sometimes argue and people think it's funny. And as you're doing these settings, it's like, Matt's like, oh, I can't wait for the hard. I'm like, oh, I really want to be a monster hunter. Oh, dystopia, Star Trek. And what's great is EZD6 really does it. And I do want to ask you a couple of questions because when I try to pitch EZD6 to people, and I'm sure you get the same questions as well. I get a lot of is, well, I don't think it'd be good for a long-term campaign. And my general answer to that is if I'm doing sort of a narrative campaign, how long do you want it to be? You know, like, are we going to do this?
Right. Yeah. Although I have added a bit to EZD6, the core book. There is a little supplement I put out on Drive-Thru RPG called DM Scotty's Brain Candy, and it's more stuff to the EZD6 core. So it gives all the paths an edge, like in Wasted World. It also allows you to take another inclination. So you're taking another inclination to be kind of up to date with Wasted World. And it has a bunch of new inclinations in it. So if you're really interested in EZD6, and it's only like $250, I think, on Drive-Thru. So pick it up because and it has an XP. What I do is every game you play, you get an XP, and you can save those up and then buy an inclination or an extra strike or. There are different things you can buy, or the new thing is power dice, okay, which I featured in Wasted World. Power dice I love because they're not quite as powerful as hero dice because a hero dice rerolls a 1, which a 1 is awful in EZD6, right? You don't want to get a 1.
Right.
Power dice do not reroll dice. They're like boons after the fact, right? So if you roll and you fail and you have a power dice or 2, you can roll one of them and add it to the roll. You don't get rid of the 1. Say you're doing magic, you don't get rid of 1, but you still might cast a spell because you might hit that target number, right? So, or if you're rolling a regular attack, I missed it. I'm going to roll this power die. So the power die to me represent bonuses that the players would have in the game. It's just a floating bonus that you don't have to keep track of. Because you got the dice in front of you, right? And just roll them when you want.
Right.
It makes your character more powerful, like if you had bonuses in another game, but you don't have to track the bonuses, right?
Yep. Reactionary principle gaming. Man, I'm glad you're still here, Mr. Max. It says, in the Horizon campaign, we had a TPK after 20 sessions, but we could have kept going. Characters had arcs and evolved, and that is the interesting part. And
I agree with that. Yeah.
I agree.
That's the interesting part to me.
that was going to kind of lead into, or part of kind of the question I asked is, I know that at cons, I'm sure you're kind of designing for the encounter, something to fit, with that. But in your home game or what have you, um, is it always on the table? Is it always an encounter, or you have a lot of role playing things going on? I know the 4D guys use EZD6 because it gets out of the way and they can kind of do their thing. What is your home game like with this? What do you?
Yeah, I I appreciate. I mean, I think that's really cool that they all stay in character the whole time and everything. But that's not my game.
Word.
I laugh. I cry. I sympathize with the characters. I menace the characters.
Yep.
I love the characters. I love the characters. But we don't stay. But we have the same emotional reaction. Like I was telling you about the game at Green Dragon Fest, where we were just laughing so hard because everybody was so on point with the gonzo-ness of what they were doing for the pulp sci-fi game, right? But we had moments where, like tender moments, where the aliens on this planet were being abused by this overlord, and they were begging the players for help, and it was like this really tender moment, and like. You still have those moments, even with a game where we're laughing half the time,
right?
You still have those moments of horror and those moments of joy and those moments of tenderness and the whole gamut of human emotion, because the players are so involved in the game. They're still involved in the game, even though they're really enjoying it so much that they're just giddy and laughing, right? There's a difference between kind of making fun of the game and just being so into the game that it's just pure joy, right?
Right. Yep.
And that's kind of where I am. I love playing, and I love seeing what the players do. And like I say, I'm one of those people that when people throw stuff out, I grab it and use it, because in EZD6 you're not going to break anything, right? You're not, that rule over there, you just broke that rule because you took this thing and you gave them this, right? You don't have to worry about that with EZD6. There's no worries about that. So
that's awesome. That's a great way to think of it. The rule's not there, bro.
It's
not there.
Yeah, there's no rule to break. Right? Yeah, the game is so like loose that it's just, and the game moves so fast.
It does.
And when I designed the game, I really wanted everything that was important to be player facing, right? So here's what it is: the karma. A great thing, a great player resource, but just like any hero tale, they run out of karma eventually, right? And they get their butts beat, and then maybe they recover some karma and they turn it around, right? So that's kind of the hero's story, right? The hero always has great luck, and then they get their beat down, and then they come back, right? But in the game they may not. That's what's interesting. But I love that it kind of follows the hero arc with the karma, and that hero die is so important when you use that. You can blow it early or wait for that moment when the critical thing is this one roll, and you still may roll the one. That's what's so great about it.
It's do or die, man.
It's like, I had that happen with the game where everybody, the room is quiet and everybody's just looking at this one roll. Everything depends on this one roll, right? And like, my daughter rolls it and rolls a one. It's just like, the table.
All right.
So the karma and the hero dice are player facing, great decisions. Also, using it on crit confirms, right?
Yep.
I love the critical system, because you can get such crazy, and heroes, if they save enough karma and get lucky enough, they can just keep cutting. And I mean, the table goes nuts. I don't know if you've ever had when it starts getting 3, 4, 5, 6 hit strikes, the table is just screaming, like just going nuts. And you never get that with like D&D crit. Like, it's like, I rolled a crit, I got a 20. Okay, I rolled an extra die. That's exciting. Okay, I didn't roll as much as I normally roll damage, but there's my crit. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that at EZD6. Like, it's like the extra strike really means something, right?
So, since we're kind of in this mechanics conversation, I know there are people who are listening who might have an idea about EZD6. EZD6 truly is one of those games you can explain the rules in 5 minutes. You're going to roll a D6 against a target number, typically a 3. If you're good at something, you're going to roll essentially with advantage. You're going to roll with a boon, and you're going to take the highest result. Karma, you start with 3 karma. You can spend it on any dice roll as long as it's not magic related. You've got a hero die, so you get one of those at the beginning of the game so that you can re-roll any die. Go for it. You don't have hit points, 3 strikes and you're out. If you get hit, you get an armor save. It's typically 6 unless you're a badass. Let's play. And I mean, that's right. I mean, that's your game. And I think this is what really sold me, because I've talked about this forever. I like fantasy games. Fantasy's not my favorite genre. There's certain things about fantasy games that have always kind of tripped me up. One of the things I love about your fantasy game is the magic system.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. And I want to talk about it. And I actually have a question. That I've just ruled it my own way. But just to explain, basically the way magic works is you're going, if let's say you're a magic user, you are going to tell the GM, the rabble rouser, what it is you want to do. They're going to decide on a difficulty, and that difficulty is going to be the number of dice. I think it's 1 to 6 that they're going to roll. The highest number rolled is your target number for that spell. You can roll 1 or 3 dice, 1, 2, 3 dice. It's up to you to get that spell off. But if you roll a 1, it's bad. You're screwed. Any 1, the whole thing is canceled. You may not use karma on magic rules. Now, here's my question. In EZD6, you give these different schools of magic, or I forget the name of them, but you know.
Yeah.
Okay. So does that mean, because the way I've kind of been using it, maybe I just misunderstood, when a player, you know, has, say, the fire magic, I'm like, look, your magic needs to reflect this school. Do what you want to do. Just make sure it's in theme. You know what I mean? It's in theme with this. If you're doing the shadows, do what you want to do, but give me the meat of this. You know, how are you doing this from the shadows? Am I interpreting that the right way, or?
Yes. Oh, yeah, totally. And you can be really loose with it. Like, you know, I had a fire mage once who wanted to do like a mirage, right? And I made that. I ruled that would be pretty difficult, so I rolled 3d6 defense dice for it. But you know what I'm saying? So you can adjust the defense, the resistance dice to reflect how hard you think something might be. I also had a shadow mage. They were in this haunted monastery, and there were all these ghosts walking around, and they were seeing like parts of conversations. And he was like, "Oh, can I like shift the shadows and like see what they're saying?" Like rewind and stuff. I thought that was the freaking coolest idea. So I said, yes, of course. And I just let him do it. Like I didn't have him roll it, because if what I do is if a mage isn't under duress, you may not necessarily have to, or there's going to be something that resists you. You don't necessarily have to roll, right? So I didn't even make him roll for that. I just allowed him to rewind and forward the conversation and them to witness. And what a great way to get information across to the players.
Yep.
You know, they feel great for coming up with this cool idea. It's a great way for you to get information to them, and it's just freaking cool, right?
Well,
so you know, I'm not really that super strict with the schools, but use it as kind of a loose. You know, I mean, if someone's a fire mage, they're not going to be casting water spells, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's obvious.
And I think I think it works into that free form. You know, if you tell a player, hey, you're a sorcerer, whatever spell you can think of, just tell me and I'll get the target number. You know, that might be cool in certain circumstances, you know, a superhero game or something like that.
Right.
But I think when you give the players some limits and they have to get creative, like I need to accomplish this, but I have fucking ghost tentacles. How am I going to pull this off? You know what I mean? I think that gives it a whole other thing. When you're playing your con games, how quickly do people get with the magic system? Is it something that
fast? It's usually one time I show them and they're good.
Yep.
Yeah. I've never had anybody have any problem with it. They just learn how it works. and then that's, you know, it's either once or twice, and then that's it. They're good. They're good for the rest of the game. Because I do like the things I like about Magic is I like it that it feels different from regular combat, right? Because in D&D, casting a firebolt and swinging a sword are exactly the same thing, right? But I like the little Magic mini game. There's things I like about it. One is it's risky, right? You're not always going to get the spell off, but you do have some resources. Like you can eat the one, as long as you hit the target number, you can eat the one, lose a strike of your 3 strikes, and still cast a spell. But there are times when you really want that spell to go off and you're going to eat it. You know what I'm saying? Or that hero die, that precious hero die, where the buying your hero die back for 5 karma came from was playtesting, because I found that mages tended to use less karma than other players because they're not doing regular actions like regular players as much, right? So they're stockpiling karma. So, but a hero die is super valuable to a conjurer, right? Because you can re-roll that one, right?
Absolutely.
So you can buy it back with 5 karma, right? So when I was developing the system, Magic is honestly the hardest thing to do in a fantasy game, because I would look at a fantasy game and I'd be like, oh, I like the game, and then get to the Magic and like, oh, I really don't like the Magic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I also didn't like, you know, I knew I wanted a light game, and I also don't like that most light games, what they do is they just kind of take the cool spells out and give you like the really lame low level spells, and that's their way of like making it less hard. Right.
Right.
Like you basically get first and second level spells, and then you don't get anything else. That's not fun either. So it's like in EZD6, you can do whatever your imagination come with and kind of fits within your conjurer school. You can do, right. You can try to attempt. So that's just really gets the creativity of the players. And there was an interesting game where I had a rascal. There was a chute and there was this hallway that kind of went down. It was like a ramp. So the rascal kind of crawled in there. It was a goblin, and she noticed that there was like something above the doorway that you go in, and she scampers up and sees a big ball of not living, but moving skeletons in a ball. So basically the ball rolls out of this crawl space and rolls down after you down the ramp. And then, the ball's grabbing at you with its skeleton arms, and so they're like, oh shit, that's not cool. Yeah. So when the rascal tells them this, one of the conjurers was a necromancer. So he's like, okay, I'm going to try to like get rid of this ball. Right. And so I made it like really tough, because this is like literally a ball of like a 10-foot wide ball of skeletons. Right. So of diameter skeletons. So I'm like, I rolled 6 resistance dice, which usually means you're going to get a 6. Right. Mm-hmm. And I did, I think I rolled a 6, and he rolled the 6. Right. He got it. And the table just erupted in cheers. Right. And you would never get that necessarily in a D&D game, because everything is set. All the spells are set and how they work and how they do. And like, oh, good. That was a clever thing you did there, but you're not going to get a, yeah, that's great, because you had to roll. You had to make that roll to do this. Right. And it's really hard. And he did it. And so the players were just going crazy. So I love that. I love that aspect so the Magic is dangerous. It's creative, it's unlimited. And the best thing of all is you don't have to freaking track it. Right. It's not, you don't have to be an accountant, a spell accountant, and track all your spells.
And it feels more like when I was a kid and I thought about playing a Magic user, it's bullshit. It's just bullshit, man. It's a wasted class, dude.
You get analysis paralysis. Okay. And invariably you pick the wrong spell, right?
Yeah. Everybody picks Magic Missile the first time when they should pick Sleep, that kind of stuff. And it becomes so rote. You've played these games for how many years now? Hey, use bandits, Sleep, and it just kind of happens. The EZD6 system is it's so creative. And that moment of cheering you're talking about, I was online running a game, and I had somebody do a big plant wall in front of like a group of skeletons coming for, and they were hurting, like they were already trying to get out.
Yeah, they really needed it.
Right. And because there were so many of them, I rolled the 6 dice, but I only rolled like a 3 or a 4. And my bad roll caused the kind of like jubilation that a good roll for a player would, right? They were all like, oh yes! And then the roll, they made the roll and they got, but there is, and that's what I was talking about before. It's a very game like, I complain that when I walk into a game store and I see kids playing almost any role-playing game, it looks like they're doing homework. They've got their noses in a book and they've got and it's just not, hey, you want to play this fun? Yeah, you want to play this fun game? Grab your calculators, kids. And you never see that cheering around the table. You never get that kind of like, oh, this is great. I can't, that fast paced. I think
it happens all the time in EZD6.
Yeah, and I really think the only other time that I've had that is anything close to that. There were moments in a phase rip game, maybe. Like it is a completely different feeling, because even though the mechanics can disappear, the mechanics can be, it's something you can just kind of work through and not even think about. During those encounters, it's like being around the craps table, man. Everybody's cheering and you're throwing your karma in, you know what I mean? It's just, I love it. I love it. So, and I want to play more of it. In fact, I've got to redo my part of the server. I've already made the announcement to my guys that one game is ending as another one begins.
Excellent.
Yeah. I have a feeling over the course of this, before you logged on and before we started, Gary and I were talking. He's like, yeah, I don't know. I got to play a new game. I can't figure out the system. We've been talking to you for an hour. I think we know what system he's going to be using.
Probably so.
I've heard, I've mentioned to you, we like to talk about game mastery and our styles and like the things we do. And what I've been picking up listening to you talk about your game, I keep hearing things like player facing, fun, cheering, and as juxtaposed to like this very procedural, like war game, like of the hobby, I guess was for your focus when you were thinking about like trying to create this game, was it less about the game master and more about the player experience? Is that what you were like focusing on, or was there something else that
yes, it's about the players, because EZD6 is super easy to game master, right? You just pick a target number on the D6. That's really it, right? And you know a few rules, right? And then a few monster stats, which you could just make up on the fly if you want. They're so easy to make up. So like you, it's totally geared for players. And another thing, this is another thing that was intentionally built into the game: armor saves. Because they keep the players on their toes, because they have to make armor saves against your attacks. Right? They're not on their phone. You know, some games that are procedural, a player might take 20 minutes to go through all their notes and all this spell and this thing, I do this and all this, and roll all the 50 million dice and all this stuff. And maybe 20 minutes before it gets back to you, and they're on your phone playing a game or, whatever. You can't do that with EZ6, because I'm going to keep asking you for armor saves, right? When I attack you, you got to be on deck to make an armor save, right? So you're just slowing the game down if you're not paying attention. So besides the game just moving as fast as it does, people are like, how do you get through so much material? It's like EZ6. Because it just flies. The game just flies. And it doesn't have what I call rules breaks, which is the most egregious thing to me in games, where you got to look up something, or you don't know a rule, or, that just slams the game. That slams the brakes. The story stops. It's like a commercial in a show, right? It's getting really exciting in the show, and then the commercial comes on, right? Rules breaks are commercials in a game.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There's we got a couple questions in the chat I want to get to real quick, but before them, I wanted to kind of follow up. Yeah, the rules break concept I just heard. So when it comes to your game, your GMing style, I take it, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I take it you're more of a narrative. Like that is more your concern, and like EZD6, it sounds like was your solution to a problem you were having, i.e.,
exactly.
How can I move these stories along?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. All right, I have more questions, but I want to get to some of these guys. So
yeah,
first,
we got time.
I got enough questions for everybody.
Yeah.
First, before we do that, I want to say Paladin mentioned my Watcher in the Water, which was years and years ago, basically inspired by Lord of the Rings, the Watcher in the Water. It's made out of toilet paper and hot glue and toothpicks, and it came out great. The thing looks fantastic. I still have it. I mean, it looks fantastic. But I did that so many years ago, when I was doing videos. Thank you, Paladin. I appreciate that.
So this one's from Questboard Train. How many community play sets are out? I know about the Four Horsemen. Are there others?
There are others. There's a Dr. Bruce. What's his name? I just totally blanked on his last name, but he does a set called Assignment Danger, which is a spy thriller set.
Oh, interesting.
And when I was working on Wasted World, he actually consulted me for some of the rules that went into that play set. So because I was working on super weapons and special weapons and that kind of stuff, and he wanted to kind of keep what I was doing grounded in that play set. So that's a great play set. Check that out. The Four Horsemen is fantastic. It's funny because Carl pitched it to me. I was like, historical, nah. And then I saw what he came up with, and I loved it. Like Four Horsemen is a really cool, and there's no magic in it. So, Four Horsemen's really interesting if you're more in that kind of gritty thing. So EZ6 can work with historical. He also uses a stress mechanic in that, which he borrowed from me before the horror game comes out. But he put the stress mechanic in that game too, which you could use the stress mechanic in your normal EZD6 too. You could make it like if you have a Grimdark game and you want it to be more gritty, you could totally port the stress mechanic in. Mm-hmm. I would keep the hero die just because it's with those kind of games, it's better. But yeah, definitely you could port that in. So that's another one. There's also a Paleolithic one, which is kind of cool. And I have on the back burner, I was kind of working on one, which was a Dino Riders game. So basically you're like, you're like cavemen and it's all kind of like all this stuff thrown together, like, ancient civilization, like there's a Sleestack type civilization that declined, and you can be one of those characters. There's like, the cavemen and the tribe with there's like cool spirit powers and stuff, like shaman stuff. There's like the Dino Riders like bond with their dinosaurs, and they, the dinosaurs have stats, and they do mega strikes, so they do two strikes each, when they hit because they're so big. And then there's like another kind of budding civilization that's encroaching into the caveman area, and so it's really kind of cool, but it's not a big played genre, but there is a version, not the Dino Riders, but there's a Paleolithic version of EZD6 online, which is pretty well done actually. I like it quite a bit. It's very stripped down, slimmed down, but if you're looking for that kind of caveman vibe, it'll hit the spot.
There was sorry, go ahead.
I think that's it. I think that's the main ones.
Yeah, there was about a year or so ago, there was like a little blip in the OSR of people getting into like that Stone Age thing. I think it had something to do with that show Primal. That's what
I was thinking of when I was writing the.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Right. Yeah, because he has a dino, he has a T-Rex friend.
Yeah, a while back, Hankerin added a setting for ICRPG. What is it, Blood and Snow or something?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I've run it actually.
Yeah, it's man. Isn't ICRPG like the gift that keeps on giving? Like you can just open that book and start getting inspired. He is a genius. Like I call him the mad genius because
he has such a huge passion for this, and he has a store in Philadelphia now,
Right.
which is just a great store. I mean, he put love, sweat, and tears into the store. A secret back room where you can game, and it's a secret door that opens. I mean, it's just just fantastic murals on the wall. I mean, it's a love letter to RPGs. And Hankrin himself is just a wonderful human being. He wants everybody to enjoy themselves in RPGs. He's a genius writer, and just content creator. And I was a fan of him immediately. Like he's always, basically I gave him, when he saw my videos, it gave him the courage to start his own. So he's always been, he calls me Yoda because he's always been a huge fan of mine. I'm his Yoda,
awesome.
but like,
we got to do this
super
super
chat. He actually gave me like a little Yoda figure.
Yeah. All right. We got a super chat from Flint Fire Forge, $5. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it. Scotty, can you explain the magic system in regards to the resistance roll made by the RR? Who rolls first and how is the number set?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a trick because there's normal spell casting and then there's innate magic that monsters use. Okay, so there's a little bit different. Okay, so normally what you do is when you say you want to cast a spell, you tell the RR rabble rouser what you want to do. The rabble rouser decides on how many dice for the resistance. Usually it's 1d6. And if you roll all ones in the resistance, the spell automatically goes off. You don't have to roll any dice. It automatically happens. So what would happen is the conjurer comes up with the spell. They tell the rabble rouser, and usually it's some amount of targets, right? So every target you hit is 1d6. Okay, adds to the resistance. So if you're hitting 3 targets, that's 3d6 resistance. If you're hitting 1, it's usually 1. But certain monsters or bosses, whatever, may have more resistance, like they have maybe 2 or 3d6 resistance, or even more. So they add that to the roll, but you never roll over 6. So if you're attacking the boss that has 3 resistance, that means you can attack 3 other targets to equal 6 that have 1 resistance. You're still rolling 6 dice, but you've hit the boss and then 3 other targets, right? If you succeed. So they're rolling 66. You're probably going to get a 6. So what you have to do is you have to decide how many power dice to roll. You got 1, 2, or 3. Okay. Now, how I usually do it is if they roll a 2, if they roll a 1, it automatically succeeds, so that doesn't matter. If you roll a 2, I'll roll 1 dice. I'll roll one power dice. If they roll 3 to 4, I'll roll 2 power dice. And if they roll a 5 or 6, I'll chance 3. That's how I usually look at it, right. As a no thinking. I just automatically do that. But the problem is, if you roll a 1, then the spell fails. You still have to reach it. But if you reach the target number with your other dice, then you can still cast a spell as long as you eat the 1, as long as you take the 1 as spell burn and then lose a strike. Now, so basically in that way, in the way the conjurer works, the resistance is rolled first. Okay, you always roll the resistance first, and then the conjurer decides how many power dice they want to attack it at, 1, 2, or 3. Okay, now with innate monsters, okay, so when they do their thing to you, okay, they roll first. Okay, so if a dragon attacks you, okay, they have a certain number of dice, say for their fire attack, their flame attack. I don't remember. I think it's 3 dice. But they roll a certain number of dice, and then the number they roll is the number you have to beat on your resistance, okay? Which is very dangerous. Those monsters are very dangerous because if they roll a 6, you can't resist it. You can't beat a 6, right? Because in Magic and EZD6, you have to equal or beat the resistance, right? So if it's backwards and you're rolling the resistance after the attack, if they roll a 6, you cannot beat that. No matter how many dice you're rolling, you can't beat the 6. So you take the full effect. And there's no armor save, there's no miraculous save. That's your save. Is your resistance, your magic resistance. So those monsters can be very dangerous, especially like area effect monsters like a dragon. that's firing, fire and rolling well, it's like super dangerous, which a dragon should be, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's how it works. I hope that helped.
And I would say that while I don't think this is like the most lethal game I've ever played, FAFO, right? Like your characters can die.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It will happen. And for game masters, you think, let me just say, you think, well, there's no levels to this game, so I'll just throw whatever at them. Don't do that.
Right.
It's not going to work out well it's going to make for a short evening.
Yeah, it is. And that's why the heroes always go first, because it is exceptionally dangerous for heroes with like multiple monsters, more dangerous than you think. But also with armor saves, you can really pull out a spectacular victory or a miraculous victory, right? Like a fighter in EZD6, a warrior, can way outlast a fighter in D&D, because through attrition, the fighter is going to keep losing hit points. But if you keep making that armor save, you don't take any damage, right? If you make your armor save as a warrior, you're not taking any damage. So you can way outlast a D&D fighter, just by your luck of the roll,
and
or
also
using your karma, right?
Right. If you fail your attack roll, that means that you get a karma for your armor save.
Exactly.
It's that thing. And something else, and I just want to comment on this real quick. You had mentioned how karma kind of does this flow where you start off doing well and you run out of karma and then you get some more. That is exactly the outline for like a Hollywood battle, a finale. It is. Yeah, right? That's the players have a plan. Story. Yeah, they're doing well. Shit goes wrong. And then all of a sudden they muster. That is every dramatic conflict.
Yes. And heroes have incredible luck. But at some point they get their beat down, right?
Yep. No, that is so great. So I'm curious. We talked about these supplements. Is there a publishing schedule? When can we expect these things to happen?
Oh yeah.
Should we just?
There is no real publishing. It's just when we get it done.
Gotcha.
Being independent. We don't. It's just hankering. Me and Boba. Doing these books. So me writing and him editing and laying out, and Bova doing the art. So it's like, it's just really when I feel it's ready. Right. Yeah.
Great.
So, but yeah, like I say, the science fiction book has really made a lot of progress. So, hopefully maybe less than another year.
That'd be great. I'm really excited for anything new, just because it helps. We were talking earlier, I think EZD6, you really can sort of mix and match things. And the more play sets there are, it's the more, like you're talking about this horror thing with normies. And I'm like, well, why don't you just take the normies and give them magic, or, you know what I mean? Or even like do a Buffy thing where you have normies and everybody has to sit in the circle. So they all roll one die, and whoever rolls the one is going to get nailed in the rich. You know what I mean? Something like I'm already like, how do I use this to accomplish what I would like to accomplish? Yeah. Every bit of info is something more. Yeah. How would you so you hit that spy game you were talking about, which is I'm guessing that's a community game, right?
Yeah.
So
So I have an open license. Yeah.
I was going to I was going to ask you about that, but go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt you, man. I just like, so I was going to say, past couple of years, Hasbro and WotC have stepped in it, for lack of a better expression, right? And you started seeing a lot of the people who got into the game, D&D in particular, right, during COVID, are either those that are deciding to stick around. I think you're starting to see them look elsewhere, and this is kind of bouncing off of what Gary was saying about the different play sets that you've been doing, the different genres. And I really think it behooves anybody who wants to be in this space to try to diversify like that, because I think there's more people looking for alternatives. I mean, that's like one of the reasons why Shadow Dark, I think. Right. Totally. And with I frankly, and Gary's obviously the more of the aficionado on EZD6 than I am, but from what I've been seeing, it's like if you are into a more narrative fast-paced game, this is the one that should be playing. So and kind of going into the third-party licensing stuff, you said you have one. Like, you don't have to go into the legalese, but like, is it pretty loose? Like, what are like the basic requirements, and like, how open are you to people doing some crazy stuff with your system?
I'm open to anything. Like, you can do anything you want with it. I just ask that you don't, copy my books for my stuff verbatim and put it in your book.
Of course,
but,
yeah, right.
That's the only constraint, And then I have the little EZD6 open thing. It basically looks like a box is open with the EZD6 logo. But it's on the EZD6.com site. You can download that, and it has all, it has like the edge art, that you can use and stuff like that. So you can do the same style as the book. I'm just there's really not any legalese to it. I just want to promise you that I will never come after you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Yeah. I'm a single guy doing this. I don't have the resources of WotC to come, send Pinkertons to your house and like rage. I'm not going to come after you, right? I'm not. I promise you right now, that I'm not going to try to sue you. I'm not going to, because I want people to take the rules and make them their own and make their, there's another set that I've been helping playtest, which is kind of a sci-fi fantasy, which is really pretty cool. I think it's called Zellerin. It's a really neat game. And he has like all these cool races and stuff, and species, and different powers and stuff for EZD6. So it's pretty cool. He also has like battle mechs in it, which is really neat. So I've been helping, my group has been helping them play that, because they're all so absorbed into EZD6. They know they're great at giving advice. It's not just me giving advice, it's
right.
The group, right? And how the players feel, and all this kind of thing. So it's just a great resource for him. But so there's working on that. But yeah, I'm not. It's really open. Yeah, make anything you want, do whatever you want with it. I am totally fine with it. No money on I'm not going to try to get money from you. I'm not going to sue you. I'm not, I just want people to have fun with it and, make it their own. So, yeah.
I think those companies and creators who've had like third-party licenses, kind of like what you're describing, I think those are the ones that actually can build a core community of supporters for it, right?
Yeah.
See that with Morkorg, Shadow Dark, Lamentations of the Flame Princess has a kind of a good license. So I had a follow-up question and it just left my brain. Give me a second. Third-party license. Is there like sort of like a community hub, like a Facebook or anything like that? Or is it just really like behind the scenes, just people just kind of like, hey, I know you do EZD6, check out this thing.
So there is a Facebook group, but I really haven't been on Facebook much. The best place to really find me is there's a Reddit. It kind of went dead for a while, but It's been reopened and it's doing quite well. So if you have any questions, you can easily find it on Reddit. Everybody can do that. Also, I'm on Discord, so look for DM Scotty on Discord. Also, a lot of my videos where I do EZ6, I put the Discord link in the video. So if you're looking for that, but yeah, I'm on Discord. So there's it's like there's DM Craft stuff, and then there's the EZD6 stuff, which is the most active. But it's like, yeah, that's so you can go there, ask me questions, and I will answer. Or my friend Carl, who wrote The Four Horsemen, he totally knows EZD6, all the rules for EZD6. And I have other friends on there too that know them very well, so they'll answer. So you easily get your questions answered. So yeah, if you have any questions or want to contribute or anything like that, yeah, check me out on Discord, DM Scotty, or the Reddit. Yeah, the Reddit's like super easy to find.
Cool. I wasn't aware of that. Just for everyone who's watching or now or later, links to the YouTube channel and to the EZD6 website are in the description of this channel. And I'm really bad at shilling my own stuff in the channel. So if you haven't hit like and subscribe yet, please do. I'm also on Rumble. Could use some follows there. DM Scotty, this hobby I've been playing since 1988. I absolutely love this hobby. A lot of people in the chat have said some things about your enthusiasm. You and I are on the same plane on that. I just love this hobby. I just want people playing because it's just so great. But there's a question I ask everybody who does work in this industry as writers, artists, whatever. It's about the Appendix N. I'm a firm believer that every game master has their own personal Appendix N, the thing that motivates them, the thing that inspires them. I shouldn't say the thing, but things, the media. So just to kind of get to know you a little better, I just want to ask, what is your personal Appendix N? What media, books, movies? I know we heard some horror movies that you're into, but generally speaking, like, what is your inspiration? What is your Appendix N?
Right. I'm a huge movie person. I know a lot of people say that. A lot of people are, but I actually have a media degree from Wright State University here in Ohio. So I did go to college for. I actually work at PBS here in Dayton. Yeah. So,
okay.
And then but yeah, I like. So I just love, and my dad was always a huge movie buff, right? So he at an early age he warped me because he was a DJ, and he was in the time when the DJs that were real DJs. Right now it's just all but like right. He was a legit DJ, and he did crazy stuff. I mean, like he was in demolition derbies, which they would never let anybody do now. He rode elephants, he did all kinds of crazy stuff. The craziest thing that happened to him was that he was at a festival, and Santa Claus was supposed to jump from the plane and give like candy to the kids.
Okay.
And his chute didn't open.
Oh God.
And the guy died falling out of and my dad had to cover and they're like, that was just a test dummy. That wasn't real. It was the real guy, right? But they're like, tell him it was a test dummy because they were testing the air currents or something. So he had to like cover.
Right.
The kids are waiting for Santa, and Santa's like, they hauled him up. He actually survived the fall, but he died on the way to the hospital. And one station he worked at, they had a real tiger, like a living tiger that they fed meat, in the station, because the station logo was a tiger, right? So this crazy stuff they would never do today. But so back then they would always give media people like passes and stuff because they wanted your goodwill towards whatever movie or whatever. So he would always get drive-in movie passes and this kind of thing. So we would go to the drive-in all the time and see these great B movies, And like I said, I was worked for an early age. So nobody does this anymore, but we put the blanket on the top of the car and, watch the movies. But yeah, so that's why I have such a weird, I have such a warped sense of humor, and I love all this, I love movies. So, cause I was just weaned on them, from an early age. So, and I've seen so many great bad movies.
So I hope this hasn't already been asked, but would you say your Appendix N is more movies than books? Or
I would, yeah. I'm more of a. I do quite like audiobooks though. Like I really like the Gotrek and Felix books. They are so great. They're Warhammer. Gotrek's like a dwarf slayer, and Felix is like this kind of learned guy who got in trouble, and Gotrek saved him, and so he travels with Gotrek because he's going to record his doom when it happens. But he's so kick-ass that he never dies. Like Gotrek never dies because he's just too kick-ass. But it's a great book series because not only is it well written, the reader who they have for the book does all the voices and all. I mean, it's just fantastic. If you've never checked this out, you're into fantasy, like kind of dark fantasy, like the Warhammer world, the original Warhammer world. Check out the Gotrek and Felix books. I like that, but there's like just a lot of fun books. There's what's that one with the dungeon master? or no, it's not the dungeon master. It's a dungeon crawler. Dungeon crawler. You know what I'm talking about? Dungeon crawler. Is it dungeon crawler Dave or Carl? It's Carl. Dungeon crawler.
Yeah, I think that's
where he wakes up and the aliens have like taken over the world and they've made dungeons, and it's like the people have to go in there to survive, and like they have to get through the levels. And it's, his cat, who his girlfriend left, is Princess Puffs or something. I don't remember the name, but like the cat like becomes a character with him and helps him. Yeah, Carl, that's it. Dungeon crawler Carl. But the cat like helps him. He gets powers and stuff from their adventures, and just fun stuff like that. But I do love audiobooks. I was more of a reader when I was younger, but I kind of got out of that.
Who has the time? Who can sit down and read a novel these days?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I do love novels. I do, but it's just like, so I've switched to listening to them in the car as opposed to, because that's just wasting time to me, right? So I'd rather have something to fill my mind.
Well, I was saying,
yeah, Princess Donut. That's the name of the cat, Princess Donut.
Yeah. The reason I asked that was because I feel like, there's a lot of times that, like, I'll play in someone else's campaign and it's obvious that they've read all the books, and and it's very, it feels like a novel. And then there's other games where it's just sort of adrenaline and going, and it's like, oh, he's a movie guy,
Oh yeah.
You can just kind of feel that difference. And
that's why I like the bam, 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 bam pace. Pacing is so important it's as important as almost anything else in the game, right? And with EZD6, you can control the pace so easily because there aren't all these rules breaks slowing you down. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, when you talk in the book, I think you mentioned somewhere about scenes, and that's kind of important. And, skipping who cares about how long it takes you there? You know what I mean? Unless it's unless you're in a fight on the drive over, who cares?
Right.
It's just getting rid of all that extra. And man, I really needed this conversation. Last week we got to talk with Matt Tapp and Griff and Barrows and Borderlands, and just how kind of free that is. And I really do feel like this month, the theme for me this month is like kind of peeling away, because I was so, I was trying to run this West Marches thing and it was all procedural and boring as hell. Like I got bored, you know what I mean? And I think people kind of, and it's just, you have so much enthusiasm for the hobby, and it comes through. I think if anybody else would try to do the kind of videos that you do, it would, because you're just so, like, I've seen videos of you where you're just like happy and almost dancing. You know what I mean?
I love it so much. I do. And there's nothing like role playing, like movies, books. It's just an experience that nothing else can touch. Like just creating a narrative with your friends, or even just people you just met, and they're all clicking, and like it's happening right. It's like a movie right in front of you that you're all creating, right? It's just one of the best when it's all running on all cylinders. That's one of the best feelings in the world.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I'm an OSR guy. I do like my procedures, and I do think subsystems are a lost art to the game. But to Gary's point, because I've been feeling the same thing. For the past few years, there's been such a emphasis on rules as written and really playing like by the strict like war game style. And I got nothing against that per se, but man, is that exhausting, right? And I almost feel like you lose something. And when I start hearing like Griff and you and Matt Tapp and the guys, the Arduin guys talking about like doing all this, just not even, it's not like they're ignoring the rules. It's that they're just not letting them get in the way for whatever it is that they're thinking in their brains. And I think that is, I'd like to see a shift. I'd like to see more people doing that, because I've been adopting that attitude with my current game, with my in-person gaming crew, and I'm having the most fun I've had in a long time. And you know, the enthusiasm you have, the focus that you have on your pet players really comes out in the game that you've created, really comes out in you know, how you present everything. And I just think at the end of the day, that's what kind of created this entire hobby, was like experimentation and just letting your imagination run wild.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
It was funny because I try to write the books like I'm talking to you, right?
Great job.
oh
Great
yeah,
job.
I love that, by the way. I love that. Yeah, I love that
like
style.
you know, that we're friends, like we're sitting here now having a fun conversation. I try to talk to you that way because Dan, you know, Professor Dungeon Master, he came to me. He's like, I love the section in your book where it says, "Do you have 10,000 hit points?" And you're like, "No."
Yeah.
And then I explain what I mean, right? But he's like, I just love that. That's so great. But that's how it's written, you know. It's like I just try to, you know, like, you know, talk to you like an every person. That is one criticism of the game, that the game kind of depends on you already having some experience as a game master. So that is, I think that can be a valid criticism of the game, but the game is so easy that you can, I mean, everybody has to learn to be a game master anyway. You know what I'm saying? And I do give game master advice, particularly terrain advice, right? In the book, there's a section where I'm like, here's how you use terrain with your game. Here's how you use terrain and minis with your game. What I found that works well for my game. So there is some advice and stuff, but it's not, you know, that's not the main. There's not a whole section of game master advice in the book,
right?
Because there's a million places to get game master advice, right?
Well, I've
right.
I think I've said it on the show. I know I've said this to friends, but I don't think rules light necessarily is for the inexperienced. You know,
that's a valid point.
You know, I think you might really have to cut your teeth on a procedural game or just something that kind of has, you know, things that you need to follow, because there is where you're going to, you know, not rule of cool, but rule zero. You're going to have to make rulings for these gray areas. And it's kind of training you.
Yeah.
Not that EZD6 has a lot of gray areas. EZD6 has a mechanic and modifications to that mechanic. And it's going to take the game master. You might need a little bit of experience to know how to apply that. You know, how to use the rules as a tool as opposed to guidelines or railroad, you know, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
Because it is very different. What you've given people is a tool to play. You haven't given them a set of confines.
Right.
You know, it's a very different attitude. So I wouldn't consider that a criticism. I mean, sure, it can be a criticism, but
no, I agree.
Yeah. If you found, but the thing is, if you found EZD6 on the internet, you're not new to this stuff, bro. Like it's just, you know, that too.
Yeah.
But if you play easy, I would argue that if you play EZ6 a couple times or even once with either me running it or someone who knows EZ6, you could go run a game.
I agree.
If you see it done, you could go run a game of EZ6.
I'll go you one further. If you read the Game Master section from ICRPG, and you know, I think that's like the greatest Game Master.
Oh, great advice. He's
great advice.
Genius. Hankton's a genius.
Yeah, read that. You know, find some other books that a friend recommends or articles or whatever. It's not hard. I do wonder though, like, because you're not doing, are you doing dungeon? Maybe I'm wrong. Are you doing dungeons? Are you doing hex crawls? Is it all sort of a narrative point story?
I do it all. I do it all. You know, there might be overland adventures or there might be dungeon crawls. It depends. You know what? Just what strikes me. Normally at conventions, I'll do dungeon crawls, but not necessarily, because I did one with all the players were androids and they were like crashed on this planet and they had to find their way, you know. So I just kind of had these random things that, you know, I kind of like to do that kind of thing. I kind of like to do point crawls. So it's not set in stone, but it's stuff I can draw on if I need to, or the players go that direction, right?
Right. I gotta say goodnight to Judd. Good night, Judd. Get some sleep, man.
Good night.
Thanks for being
Good night,
here.
Judd. Thanks for stopping by, man.
By the way, every time Judd's name comes up somewhere, everybody goes, "That dude's the best dungeon master I've ever played with."
Yes.
So Judd, feel free to invite me to a game because I want to know, man. I have to know.
He's going to join us sometime next month. The Wretched Crew will be here. We'll be talking Red Room stuff. Judd will be available.
Would you guys like to play a game with
ask him anything?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it. When? Let me know.
I got a lot coming up in the next couple of months, but maybe like very early next year we could get something going.
Hey, just
absolutely.
Message.
If you wanted to, yeah, let us know. If you wanted to live stream it and all that,
great.
I can get it set up.
Yeah.
We're
because I have some play testing I want to do, and like it'd be great to,
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If whatever you want to do, man, like just let us know. Like I said, we love games. We love talking about games. Sometimes we argue about games, but that's what we're here for, and so that would be great. I mean, I don't want to jinx anything, but Gary and I have been working on something hopefully next month that'll be like a live stream event kind of thing. I got to talk to the guy who's going to be running it. He does not respond as quickly as I would like, but we're open.
Great.
I'm a type AAA personality. But yeah, like I think that would be great. I would love that, hands down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that being said, to those guys that are in the chat right now that are also on the server, if you go past Gary's game table, probably by tomorrow evening, you are going to notice that all of the stuff from the New World OSE campaign is going to be hidden, as in you will not be able to access it. That game is going on hiatus, as I think even I've lost interest, to tell you the truth. I made a few. You know what my biggest mistake was? I didn't realize how long it would take you guys to move 3 24-mile hexes. Like I really, all the cool
They're meticulous,
shit.
huh?
Remember the purple and silver tree line you guys came up against, and I was like, "Look, there is no doubt this is a marker." You guys crossed that line, and I think we still would have been playing. But God dog it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're gonna put that away for a while. There's gonna be an EZD6 game come up real soon. I just need to decide what kind it is. And if any of you guys are interested, maybe we can all get together and talk about what we might want to play, what kind of game we might want to put together. So there is that. But EZD6 it's going back in the rotation. I've got 3 games. Anytime I'm thinking about running a new game, it's EZD6, ICRPG, Old School Essentials. I'm a creature of habit.
Great stuff.
What is your go-to game if you're not playing EZD6? What do you like?
Yeah. ICRPG.
It's so good.
It is. It's really great.
I've had second edition like forever,
Yeah.
And I had the master edition in PDF, and I just got the hardback because I just ordered those cool dice.
The chunky dice. I got me a set too. Yeah,
I love them. There's, what's great about them? I've been wanting some big dice, but every time I run across big dice, it's like, this is going to scratch my table up, or they were just a little too heavy.
Yeah.
These are perfect.
They are. They're great. They're great.
So nice. But, man, how lucky were you? How did the story I heard with you guys getting together was that he hadn't even really played your game. He was walking past your tables at the convention or something like that and just said, all right, well, I guess we're going to put this guy's game out. Is that what happened?
That's made up. So, I told you that he's always, been a fan of mine, and, when he actually published EZD or ICRPG, he, on the thank yous, like, I think I'm the first person that he thanks, which really touched my heart that he put that in there. Because, you could be expedient in like, thank who's helping you at this point in time, as opposed to someone who inspired you like years ago, but like I said, he calls me his Yoda. So when I approached him with the game, he was like, we're making this game. I'm doing this because he's like, I want to do this for you. I want to make, and I love his layout skills. I love his art. I love his aesthetic. I love everything that he does. So it was a no-brainer. It was like yes, immediately yes. And then it it came from that. I submitted the manuscript. We had a few growing pains with that, because I was very new to writing a book and that kind of thing. So we got all that worked out, and the art, and we found Bova, who just was perfect. And he laid it out. Did a great layout on it, and it's all from there.
I just don't
it's just me approaching him basically, and him saying yes, hell yes.
Yeah, I don't know how that guy finds the time.
I don't either.
He was really one of the first D&D channels I started watching. It was just before the pandemic.
It's very fun to watch. He's very fun. Yeah, he's very entertaining.
He was doing this thing where I think he'd give a tip or he'd read something from a book, and then he would take a shot of whiskey, and he had like 6 of them lined up. And by the end of the video, I'm just like, how is this guy? It was Drunkards and Dragons or something like that when the channel first started. And it was just some thug just drinking, talking about D&D. And you talk about an evolution, right? And then it was the crafting. He's the only guy that inspired me to go buy some foam. I'm like, I'm going to do this. Yeah. I did it once, and I'm going to tell you that I know it seems easy. Just do the stuff like we do. Mine never looks cool, dude.
And that's okay, because if you put something down on the table, the players will love it. It doesn't matter how crappy it looks. To the players, it's going to be amazing, right? I'm telling you right now. If you think your stuff is horrible, the players won't. They'll love it.
Well, I tried my hand at craft and DMing just before the pandemic, and there was some stuff that was good. I played a lot of Warhammer 40K. So
me too. Yeah, early
for that.
Yeah, not the newer stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a second
I'm a
guy. The later stuff
guy too. Yeah.
Yeah. But there was this one point I tried to make a bunch of barrels like next to each other on some sand, and apparently my carving skills weren't great, because a buddy of mine was just like, why are there cat turds on the
table? Looks like you need to watch my barrel video.
I guess I do.
But the thing is, now with 3D printing, it's so freaking easy to get all that little. It's one thing that I love about 3D printing is like there was never any modern stuff or hardly any sci-fi stuff available, but now it's like I can run these modern games with like the everyday nightmares, because you can print all this modern days like cars and furniture and all this other modern day stuff, and as well as figures, as well as miniatures. So I could, it's the 3D printing. Wow. I mean, it's such a great tool.
How much of the 3D printing are you doing right now? Are you doing it yourself, or?
I do it quite a bit. I do a lot of resin printing.
Yep.
It's a mess. It's stinky. It's sloppy. But the miniatures are freaking fantastic. You got to wear masks and gloves when you work. It's so toxic. You got to, it's like, don't breathe it, God forbid. But like, yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but it's like the stuff is so great. And I mean, there's so many things you can print now. It's just crazy. Like almost anything you're looking for, you can find. And that still doesn't preclude my crafts. Like I still do a lot of crafting, right? Because I like buildings with like open wall, like no walls on them. So what I'll do is I'll take paint boards and stamp textures on like maybe a stone texture on a paint board. And then there's your dungeon tile, and I'll put a door there. So there's the door. The square is the wall, the rim of the tile is the wall, and there you go. And the great thing about no walls is like everybody can see it, right? You're not, some of those things where the walls are like this, you're like trying to squeeze an ogre in there, it doesn't fit in there. It's like with no walls, you don't have to worry about that. in my initial iteration of it, what I did was I had called it 2.5D because what I did was pieces of cardboard with like 1/4-inch strips of cardboard along the edge, and that simulated the walls. And I paint little shadows around it and everything. And that's how I did it initially. But now I don't even do that. Here's the tile, and if I need to connect them, I'll just put another one. You can actually make a room bigger by putting multiple tiles together, or you can make them separate by putting a door or something between the two. So yeah, I still do a lot of crafting, but the 3D printing is, such a fantastic resource.
I feel like it's another hobby unto itself.
It is. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot to get into. Yeah. Not just all the other things I said, but money wise too. It's not cheap.
Well,
so
40K is plastic crack.
But the printers have gotten so much cheaper than they used to be.
Yeah, the printers
and they're so much better.
Right?
Yeah,
they are. Man, I can't. I got like 3 kids in the house. We're in the middle of the city. I just can't.
But there's nothing wrong with having a token with a number on it.
True,
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with it. But then you have envy occasionally.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, because there's nothing like seeing the players' faces when I go to these conventions and like put this stuff down. Like they're so drawn into it, right? It's like not only are we making a movie in our mind, we're making it right on the table in front of you where you can touch and see. And so it actually kind of takes a little bit, like I say, relieving the mental load on your brain. It actually takes a little bit away because everybody knows exactly where they are. They know what the thing generally looks like, right? That doesn't mean like I don't like, oh, you move here and now you see this, right? And reveal something. I'm not like a board game where I put everything down and then you move around like a board game. I still do all the, discovery and all this kind. You may not have seen that where you were and all this kind of stuff, or the enemy's hiding here and he jumps out. So I still do all that stuff, but and in the theater, and I just still describe things, but it's like that terrain takes a load off too, because all that other mundane stuff is just kind of displayed right on the table in front of everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Envy.
When you guys come to a convention?
Well, I'm curious though, how much space do you have like a spare room, or is your garage like just like?
Yes. So I have a basement full of crap, and a garage full of crap, and a game room full of crap.
Come to DM Scotty's auction on
years of stuff, right?
Oh my goodness!
And generally,
and you know where it all is too, right? Like if you had to get to it, you would know exactly.
I can generally find it, but I don't know. But what I do is I'll tend to make sets of like games. So I'll have like this tub and this tub have this game in it. You know what I'm saying? And I'll make a whole new thing for another game, right? Yeah. So I can just basically leave the stuff in the tub, and then when I'm gonna, because I'll run scenarios at different conventions where they're far apart that I know people won't be from the previous convention, right? So I'll do that. So that helps too, to keep my sanity and like where I know these stuff are this game, right? They're this particular game. So that helps, but it also means that I have to do a lot of double up, right? I have to make more, I have to make more tiles. I have to make, print more stuff. I have to, but I love doing it, and my dad, like I said, is a huge movie buff, and we get together every week, and he's my slave. He's my painting slave. So what I do is I have him do the lion's share of like my painting, and then I do all the detail work. And so, but I also do stuff for him because since he's such a huge movie buff, he buys these statuettes, and we'll come over and he'll do the basic paint job on the statuette, and I'll do all the details and the highlights and all that stuff, the shading. So, because I'm the artist, he's not. So, but it's a huge help just for him to like base paint the stuff. Takes like half the work off of me, right? At least half the work. So yeah, he's a huge help in that regard, and it just gives us a great time to spend time together, and we watch we put on movies, and just talk about bullshit, and paint, and it's so great. When I was doing the crafting more, with DM's Craft, I would get so many comments about like, oh, crafting is it's so therapeutic. Because you're not thinking about your problems. You're not worried about, whatever is going on. You're just thinking about what's in front of you, you're and making it the best you can. Right. And I've had so many people contact me with like chronic pain and other issues. And they're like, I have this chronic pain, but when I sit down and craft, I don't think about that pain. I think about what's happening when I'm doing at the table. And thank you so much. And that just really touches my heart, because I feel that, like, in this society, they want us to buy everything, right? They don't encourage you to make things, right? Yeah. So making something and then putting it out on the table, and then your friends going, wow, that's amazing. Or just the look on their faces when they see it, when you pull it out, is just so satisfying, and not only are they enjoying it, you're getting that feeling of, wow, I really did something that made this game fun, or funner for these people. So I think crafting is just therapeutic. It's just fun, and like with DM's Craft, my thing was anybody can do this. I guess with the exception of the rat turd barrels. I was trying to show that anybody can do this, right? You don't have to be a great artist to do what I'm doing, right? And that's what. And I use the cheapest materials: cardboard, hot glue. Hot glue is a wonder glue. I make all kinds of stuff out of it. Like the guy earlier talking about the Watcher in the Water, mostly hot glue. Glued on a frame. A skeleton that I made, and painted up. So yeah, it's just anybody can really do it. And I have like over 800 videos of like crafting. I mean, you can find anything, and people still watch these videos. They still watch these videos I did 13 years ago.
I watched some this week because that's it. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
So embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed.
No, don't.
I am embarrassed at those videos because I'm like, and all this stuff. But it's like, I don't take them down because it's where I came from. Flynn. Right. It's like I want a record of where DM's Craft started and where it ended up. Right. Yep. And I feel it's ingenuine to take those down and like, oh, make fancier videos, because I literally just set up the camera and film myself, So, but that's where it started. That's where this crafting thing started.
No, I think it's great.
And yeah, that's why I leave them up. But people
yeah, I'm the same way. I started doing stupid little PowerPoints because my real life job, that's kind of like what I do when I have to like present something. So it's just like, well, I'll talk about this game and I'll just break it down. But by breaking down some of these games, I actually got to really know the ins and outs.
Oh, that's that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of turned me on to getting more curious about game design and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't like my earlier videos, but I'm not. I'm with you. It's kind of disingenuous. It's me. It's who I am.
This is where I started.
Yeah. No, they're honest. I like them. I like that. It's just a guy. Hey guys, we're gonna do this thing. I do. I like it. It's I'm not.
Yeah.
So I watch a lot of cooking videos. It doesn't matter, but I'd rather watch some dude in the kitchen talking to me than see some like and the graphics.
Oh, right. Like fancy graphics.
What I mean? I want to see a chef in the kitchen like crazy like chopping meat.
Belting it out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey man, we're at about 2 minutes. I'm real quick before we leave. Are you any cons you're headed to? Any plans? What should we be looking out for? Where do we keep up with you? Thank you. On and on.
Check out the DM. If you're into crafting, check out the DM's Craft on YouTube. Like I said, you can find my Discord. I was trying to get the link, but I'm
we put
with
one
it.
up a little earlier.
Yeah, I joined your Discord
Oh,
and then
thank
I
you so
grabbed it.
much.
I
Thank you so
joined it
much.
as well.
Well,
welcome.
great. So yeah, we got that. So and then the Reddit. Now, yeah. So I all my stuff's on Drive Through RPG now. There was some on the Runehammer site, but it's all we've decided to shift it all to Drive Through. It's just easier. The print on demand and everything. He was trying to do the publishing, the publishing, but he's got so much on his plate that it's just easier to just do the print on demand. So we're just going to keep EZD6 on Drive Through RPG. So if you're looking for any EZD6, and if you're looking for those other play sets, like the Assignment Danger and stuff, just type in EZD6. It'll find all the EZD6 stuff. So yeah, that's where you can find this old crazy guy.
Awesome. Matt?
Well, all I have to say is thank you so very much for coming tonight. This was a great conversation. This is what we look for. This is what we hope for. Like I said, we've been talking about this off and on all night. This hobby's great. It's great to see people have the level of enthusiasm that you have.
Oh, thank you.
And the love for it, really. And
oh yes,
you got a great game, and we are so thankful for you to take the time to.
Well, thank you. That's evening. So nice to say. I really appreciate it.
No, absolutely.
Because it's like people like you spreading the word that really helps us independent people, because everybody knows about D&D, right? And D&D, right? But it's like EZD6, it's like people like you that enjoy it and spread the word that really help us independent people, like make a bit of a living off of it.
Right.
So thank you again. Thank you again.
Oh man, anytime. And anytime you need to shill, I keep preaching to everybody, come shill here. We love it. You know what I mean? Yeah. We want to see the new stuff. We want to help it sell well. And I just, I really feel like I've been needing this talk. Your enthusiasm. It's been hard to kind of keep a smile on my face for a little, you know what I mean? About gaming anyway. Sometimes it gets stressful and I'm letting everybody down and on and on. And it's just really nice. Thank you very much.
Oh, I forgot this. One more thing. I forgot to say where you asked me about the convention. I forgot to, there's Mythicon coming up in November, which I knew the original people from, so I've gone to for years, but it's like, I've gone to for years. So I'll be there this year. Mythicon, it's in Charlotte, North Carolina. So if you're interested, if you want to meet me, there'll be Dan is going to be there, the Professor Dungeon Master, probably Bill, who is in the Crafting Guild, will be there. So there'll be a lot of other people besides me too. So if you're interested, and we're all going to do a craft off, which is going to be really fun. So knock them down craft off. So you can meet me there. So check it. It's a great laid back convention. That's why I love it, because it's like it's not super jam packed. It's like there's time to talk to people and go around and check it out. So yeah, check out Mythicon. Great people, great convention. And yeah, if you're interested in meeting me, that's where I'll be this November.
Also, we need to convince you to come down to North Texas.
Oh yeah, that's a bit far for me, but I would love to go to GaryCon. I would love to go to GaryCon, but I've never really been invited or anything. So yeah, but I
bet if you showed up, they'd make you very comfortable. I bet if you showed up, they'd help you out. They'd let you in. I'm pretty sure. So
they probably would. Oh yeah, you should go to Mythicon. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks again, Matt.
I'll chat. Thank you so much. You guys have been great questions. DM Scotty, thanks again. But I think our watch has ended. Guys, we'll see you next week, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Hey, take care. Thanks for tuning in.